Yo, what's up? My name's Nicole, and if you're into learning about experimental sound design, whether that be for music or video games or movie soundtracks, you're in the right place because that's pretty much all we do on this channel. Now, this video is sponsored by my amazing Patreon supporters. Thanks to them, and if you're interested in my Patreon, I'll have a little bit more about it at the end of this video. But anyway, a few days ago, Killer Hearts decided to drop a major update to their Phaseplant synth. With a new generator type called Granular. And if you're not familiar with what granular synthesis is, basically it's when you take a audio file or a waveform, as long as it's audio, and then you chop it up into little individual snippets, and then you replay those little individual snippets at different times, different playback rates, and different pitches. So it's a really interesting way to get some really dense and unique sounding soundscapes. And I thought today I could just sort of experiment with it and sort of discover it along with you guys, because I haven't actually played around with it that much yet. I've had a little bit of a play around. I'm not really that familiar with it yet, so I guess we'll discover it together, see what we can make. Now, if you don't have Phaseplant, there's actually heaps and heaps of free granular synths and tools out there, so I'll recommend a few at the end of the video, some free ones and some cheaper ones. Phaseplant isn't that cheap. It's like, I think it's like $300 or $400, but Killer Hearts does actually have a really affordable subscription service. Once you've spent like the same amount that the product is worth, you're able to keep it, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like a rent-to-own system. But anyway, let's open up this granular generator here, and maybe we can just load in one of the stock audio files here. Maybe something tonal would be cool to start off with. Kalimba, that might be cool. So if I play a note here. So you can see all these separate dots. Those are representing the individual grains, and our sort of amplitude envelope of those individual grains are represented here. So I could smooth out each grain a bit more if I wanted to by doing this. See, the transient's a bit more smoothed out now. If I bring the attack back, get more of that attack. And I can shorten the length of the grain. What this is going to do is it's actually going to make the grain size shorter, but since we're limiting the amount of grains with this parameter here, making the grain envelope shorter is going to make the sort of grain speed faster, if that makes sense. If I kind of like a exponential sort of rhythm thing. But we can also manually increase the grains here. Same sort of effect, right? But now, if we scan through the audio file, we get some really interesting sounds. We also have a few different modes with the sort of the grain spawning, I guess is one way to put it. So if we click on this drop down, we have density. So that's just choosing the average amount of grains that are being played back at any given time. But we can also make it so that it plays back a new grain at beat values. So we could go every 16th note, it's going to play back a grain. Going to be synced to the tempo, right? This could be cool for making some sort of glitchy percussion. Or we could do just a sort of unsynced rate here. And we can randomize the position of the grains. So you can see they're more spread out now. And that brings me to this. These two options here. So this is going to be more of a unipolar. So the grains are going to be randomized based on where the playback head is, but they're only going to be after the playback head. That makes sense. But if we click on this unipolar mode, or bipolar mode, sorry, it's going to be both before and after. So you can see here the grains are only spawning after the playhead here, and then either side of it there. And we can also randomize the timing. So on average, it's going to be every 7.7 hertz, there's going to be a new grain. But if we randomize the timing, that value is going to be sort of randomized. And then we can also randomize the pitch here. So the max value of randomization here is 2 semitones, I think. So you could just use it more subtly to get some slight changes in pitch, I guess, might be a good idea. And you can also randomize the actual level, the amplitude of the grains, and the panning. It's pretty neat. And you can also reverse some of the grains too, so some of them will be reversed. We're already getting some sort of like interesting pad sort of textures here, especially if we add a reverb as a convolver. That's already a really cool sort of movie soundtrack pad, I guess. That also brings me to the chord mode, so you can make it make each grain randomly pitched, well, not randomly actually. This mode here is randomly, but you can also strum the notes. Anyway, I'll explain it a bit better. So you can go to octaves. So now each grain will be randomly set to a certain octave depending on the range here. So you can set it to a range of 2 octaves. So now each grain is going to be in a random octave in a range of 2 octaves wide. Or we could go like crazy and go 8 octaves. But if we bring the timing down, and then maybe bring the sync on, and maybe go like 30-second notes, and then go strum up mode, and bring the grain size down. You can hear it sort of going boink, boink, sort of strumming upwards. And also downwards, or then up and down. We're a bit wide here. That high note's pretty annoying. And then there's also this parameter which automatically changes the length of the grain depending on the note that you're playing. So if you notice, those are really high notes. We're sort of staying the same length as the low notes. If we unclick this, those higher notes should be a bit faster. There we go. So if we have this engaged, it's just going to keep every grain the exact same length regardless of the note we play. But now when we're modulating the octaves of those grains, the higher ones are going to be shorter and shorter. But we can also choose chords, so like proper triads and stuff rather than just octaves. So we could go like a major chord, for example. That's pretty cool. So we could modulate this playhead. A triangle LFO here. And make it unipolar. We've got like this sort of bubbly sort of synth happening. And we could make that like a major 7, that might be cool. Minor major 7, sorry, fuck. I was wondering why it was so creepy sounding. I wanted an actual major 7 chord. Major 7, that's the one I wanted. It's a bit less creepy. Yeah, that's pretty neat. We could try a different reverb impulse response here. That's pretty neat. This might sound cool with like a vocoder on. Chuck a OTT on there just to bring it up a bit. What about spectral time? I'm still getting around to making a video on spectral time, by the way. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, that's enough of that. Maybe we can drag something else into this granular oscillator now. So I'm just going to make a new patch. Actually, what I'll do, that spectral time gave me an idea. So I'm going to make a saw wave oscillator here, and then add a bandpass filter, bandpass, steep slope. I get some sort of tippery sort of sounds. I'm just going to put like a random modulator on this, smooth all the way up. On the cutoff, I'm going to put spectral time on here. 100% dry wet. Speed back up. Bring the time down. Oh, whoa, there we go. I'm just going to tweak this around so I get some cool sounds. Whoa. Change the resolution. That's crazy. Ew, that's so gross. In the best possible way. That's actually sick. Okay, I'm gonna stop that, and then I'm just gonna highlight that whole sort of sound design jam, and then I'm just gonna drag that into the granular oscillator, and hopefully it turns out pretty sick. There we go. And get rid of the spectral time, and I'm gonna change my root note to F1 because that's what I was playing on my keyboard. Yeah, holy fuck. It's actually crazy. I'll put dynamics on lane 1 here. That's what I'll do. And I will just limit it a little bit. That's so insane. What the fuck? Oh my god. Holy fuck. Oh my... Dude, this is actually fucking crazy. What the fuck am I doing? I could just like mess around with this playhead like for the whole day. It's kind of like a wavetable if you think about it. That's really what a wavetable does, is it like plays back a little snippet of an audio file. Especially if we enable this align phases mode. Oh, holy shit. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck a high pass filter on here. So we're not getting any sub information, and then I'm just going to make my own sub. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do it with the wavetable generator. And then just like add my own harmonics here. It's really thick. Okay, and then I'll distort it slightly. That's right, we're going into lane 1 here. I'll just go into lane 2 with the sub. This can go to lane 3. That's so insane. What the fuck? How do we add both of these to the same output? They're both ending up in lane 3, so I'm just going to make a gain percentage thingy, and then I'm going to add an LFO. I'll just draw some shape like this, I guess. Yeah, that's whatever, and then I'll sync it, and I'll make it quarter note? No, 2 quarter notes. we just have like infinite bass sounds. Wherever I move the playhead, we get a completely different bass sound. I guess it's the same with wavetables. Like, this is the idea with wavetables, except I just dragged in a completely random audio file of like an arbitrary length, and it's working like 100% perfectly, and it sounds fucking sick. Like, with wavetables, I would have to put in quite a lot more work to get this type of thing happening, right? And maybe we'll link the playhead to this. Have you played with the amount of grains yet? And maybe after this, I'll just add a multipass with a preset that I made. It's basically just OTT kind of thing with some saturation. Probably a bit much there, huh? We could tighten this up as well with like a remap, by the way. So we could get rid of this mapping and then add remap. And then make it sort of like a more of a curved shape. And now we're sort of remapping this shape to be more sort of exponential than what's already on there. So like we map this to remap here, and then map the remap to this gain 100%. And now this remap has basically like a tightness control. So we bring this all the way down, it's less tight. All the way up. So other way around, I guess. So all the way down is like super tight. All the way up is like sort of kind of loose. And then maybe I could like randomize the playhead position. Maybe like sync it and then make it every bar it's going to be a different position. Sorry, that'd be 4/4, yeah. And then like all the way up. Oops. Yeah. And we have infinite bass sounds. Well, that's cool. And now we can just play around with all these settings. Well, that's cool. What the fuck, man? Honestly, this update is so good. What else can we randomize? The level of the grains? So you get some really sort of cool width if you just randomize the panning of the grains too. It's really cool. Really clean stereo width. Damn. That's actually really sick. What if we go into the chord mode here on octaves? Oh my god. What the fuck? I'm guessing if we go anything other than octaves, it's going to be too messy. Maybe if we go pentatonic minor, it might be okay. That's actually pretty sweet. Getting pretty sick of this shape here now though, so I'll just do some random pre-made shape here. Wow, man. Far out. Wow, holy crap. I'm just amazed by this update. What about major? Add disperser onto the end of this, maybe. Phase distortion. Actually, that reminds me, because this is in the kilohertz ecosystem, we're able to modulate pretty much anything with anything. So we could like use this granular oscillator as an FM source. What the fuck is that going to sound like? So if we add a analog and maybe just bring this, turn that off and turn this off. I've only got this one. I'll turn that lane off. We'll go into lane 2. Okay. I'm just going to drag this up to the top as well. We're underneath. Okay. So now I can bring this output and then modulate the frequency of whatever's happening in here. Whoa, okay. So yeah, I'm modulating the frequency of the sine wave with whatever's happening in that granular oscillator. Maybe the shift. What about the phase? Whoa, that's crazy. That's probably the most insane FM I've ever seen in my life. What the fuck is even happening? What if we bring the octave of this down? Oh. What the fuck? What the fuck? Sounds like a bloody like piece of cardboard being waved in the waved around in the air. That is so weird. Could we make this into like a thunder or a, like earthquake sound effect or something? Convolver. Lane 2 here. So if we just like low past this now, it's like an earthquake. So chuck an envelope onto this. What about before the convolver? A bit better, yeah. Holy crap. Sounds like thunder. Holy crap. What? Shout out Gork Lunk. Holy crap. Can you guys see this? Wow, okay. Yeah, so that's Phaseplant's granular mode, and hopefully this gave you guys some inspiration. And yeah, I had a lot of fun making this video. Holy crap, I'm just going to play around all day with this now. Now, if you're a little bit strapped for cash, you can just make your own sort of granular sounding effect rack. So for example, I've got this little watery impact that's from one of my Patreon sample packs. And if I just put a delay on this, with an LFO on random mode here with a little bit of smoothing, something like this. And then I map this to the rate and maybe unsync the time here so it's a bit smoother. I have to map it again because it's a separate routing apparently. Something like this, and I'll just bring the depth down slightly so it's not as crazy. The offset back. There we go, so it's a bit more useful. We get something like that. So if we bring the dry wet up, we'll only be hearing the delay. Now if I highlight both of these, and then go into the chain list here, just highlight the chain and duplicate it out a bunch of times. Now we have the same exact thing happening in each chain, except each random LFO is going to be randomized differently. So you can see they're all completely separate randomization here. So we're going to get different pitches and different delay lengths. And they're all going to be stacked on top of each other because we're processing these in parallel instead of series because they're different chains. So if I play this now, very granular sounding, right? Especially if we map the feedback to a macro here. On all of these, I have control of the feedback. You probably want to put a limiter at the end, huh? So it's not quite the same as a true granular synth, but it's really similar tonally, I guess. Now another free granular VST that I've found that is actually really, really good and fun to use is one called Emergence. I don't know why this is free, because you can get quite a lot of really cool sounds out of it, and I'd really happily pay some money for it. But anyway, we play our original sound again, and then enable this. So it's basically buffering a section of the audio file and then granulating that. That makes sense. So we're not triggering this via MIDI like in Phaseplant. It's purely an audio effect, right? So we've got one stream here and we've got multiple streams, so we can sort of granulize things separately, sort of in parallel, similar to how we had the echo set up. So we can randomize the pitch here, randomize the time. Something or other. Why is this not working very well? Buffer size. We're kind of scanning through the buffer here. Max grain count. There we go. I haven't used this in a while, so it's a bit loud, huh? So yeah. Yeah, it can get really crazy really fast. I can't really remember how to use this very well, but yeah, this is a thing. Another free one is called Granulator 2, which is part of one of the Max for Live extensions or whatever. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, you'll find it on Ableton's website. It's a Max for Live device here. So if I drag this water sound effect into here, and then I can trigger it with the MIDI key. And in exactly the same way as in Phaseplant, we can change the playhead position and the grain size. So this is a lot more similar to Phaseplant's. That's pretty sick. And then we also have FM built in as well. Although I don't think you can use the actual output as an FM source. Which is what we were doing in Phaseplant there. So you've just got a separate FM oscillator in the background. Change the pitch of it here. Yeah, and you can change the playback position, randomization with the spray. Randomize the playback point here. The amount of grains. Oh, grain size, that is. I think there is a way to change the amount of grains. I can't quite remember where that is. But anyway, Granulator 2 is really fun. So definitely check that out. There's also other granular synths, like the one in Archeria's Pigments is really good as well. Obviously that's not free though. I've found that this Pigments one is really useful if you want those really sort of washed out, big, sort of noisy sort of soundscapes. So like when I want to, for example, make a soundscape for like a beach or something like that, or like a rainstorm with a single recording of a drop of water or something like that. Pigments is really, really good for that sort of thing. Although I'm sure you could do that with Phaseplant and Granulator 2 as well with a bit of tweaking. But yeah, if you're interested in my Patreon, I upload tutorials and videos and sample packs and racks and stuff like that for only a few dollars a month. So if you guys are into that sort of thing, definitely give it a look. It really, really helps me make these videos when I can. And shout out to all you guys that are already supporting me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.